A research vessel drifting through the Atlantic in 2014 encountered something so strange that even the scientists on board couldn't immediately explain what they were seeing. Off the coast of Portugal, a pod of sperm whales had gathered at the surface. At first, nothing seemed obviously wrong. Then the researchers realized something unsettling. The whales weren't feeding, they weren't diving, they weren't socializing. They weren't doing much of anything at all. Roughly 20 of the largest predators on Earth were simply suspended in the open ocean, almost motionless, their massive heads angled downward into the water below. Hours passed. The whales stayed exactly where they were.
For marine biologists who spend their lives studying whale behavior, this made no sense. Sperm whales are normally in constant motion. They communicate continuously through bursts of clicks, so loud they can disorient prey. Their vocal signatures are so distinctive that researchers can often identify individuals from kilometers away. But on that day, the ocean was eerily quiet. Then the researchers finally saw it. Just beneath the surface drifted the body of a dead juvenile whale. The pod had formed a loose circle around it. No feeding, no migration, no obvious purpose. Just a silent gathering in the middle of the Atlantic. The scientists remained nearby for hours. The whales remained too.
Nobody on deck spoke very much. Eventually, without any signal, the humans could recognize the whales slowly separated and disappeared into the ocean. One moment they were there, then they were gone. Researchers call this kind of behavior a vigil, mostly because they don't know what else to call it. And that uncertainty points toward one of the most difficult questions in all of biology. Not whether animals feel fear, not whether they experience pain, not even whether they can experience joy.
The evidence for those is already overwhelming. The real mystery is far deeper. Do animals understand death, not merely react to it, understand it? Do they grasp that death is permanent, that it happens to everyone, that once something is gone, it does not come back? And perhaps most disturbingly of all, do any animals realize that one day they themselves will die? Because those are very different things. Responding to death is one thing. Comprehending death is something else entirely. Consider sea otters. When a mother sea otter loses her pup, observers have documented behavior that is difficult to watch.
Instead of leaving the body behind, the mother often carries it with her, for days, sometimes for more than a week. She balances the pup on her chest, exactly as she would if it were still alive. She grooms it, protects it, keeps it from sinking beneath the waves. Researchers studying these mothers have found that some lose significant amounts of weight during this period. They eat less, rest less, everything becomes focused on keeping the body close. Eventually, nature intervenes. The body deteriorates, it sinks, or the mother finally releases it.
And only then does she move on. But what exactly are we witnessing? The obvious answer is grief. Yet grief carries a hidden assumption. Grief implies understanding. To grieve something, you must first understand what has been lost. And that's where things become complicated. Perhaps the otter truly understands that her pup is gone forever. But perhaps she doesn't. Perhaps her brain is simply following ancient maternal instructions. Protect the pup. Carry the pup. Groom the pup. Stay near the pup. Those instincts evolved over millions of years. Maybe there is no built-in mechanism that says, stop, the pup has died. Maybe the mother doesn't know death has occurred. Maybe she only knows that something is terribly wrong, something she cannot fix. Or perhaps she understands perfectly and chooses to hold on anyway. The unsettling truth is, science cannot currently distinguish between those possibilities. Geese present another mystery. Many species form long-term pair bonds, sometimes lasting for life. When one partner dies, the surviving bird occasionally abandons the flock entirely.
For a goose, that is extraordinary. Geese depend on groups. They migrate together, feed together, sleep together. Safety comes from numbers. Leaving the flock means increased danger, yet some do exactly that. Researchers have documented solitary geese wandering alone for days or weeks, repeatedly returning to locations they once visited with their partner. The same pond, the same shoreline, the same resting places. Observers often notice behavioral changes as well: less feeding, reduced alertness, altered posture.
By nearly every measurable standard, these birds appear profoundly distressed. But once again, interpretation becomes difficult. Is the goose searching for its missing mate, or is it simply repeating an established behavioral routine? Perhaps the internal rule says, go here with partner. The partner is absent, but the behavioral program continues to run anyway. If so, what are we seeing? Grief? Memory? Habit?
Or some emotional experience that has no direct human equivalent. Our language was designed to describe human minds. Perhaps animal minds contain states for which we simply have no words. The mystery deepens in Africa. In 2009, researchers studying wild giraffes documented something extraordinary. A mother giraffe remained beside her dead calf for more than 3 days. She repeatedly nudged the body. She guarded it. She drove away scavengers, including hyenas. She barely ate, barely moved. Occasionally, other giraffes approached, lowered their heads toward the calf, stood silently for a short time, and then walked away. 3 days may not sound remarkable.
But for a prey animal standing exposed on an open savanna, it is potentially fatal. Every instinct should have compelled her to leave. Predators existed, energy reserves were dwindling, remaining carried real risk, yet she stayed. Then, sometime during the 4th day, she simply walked away and rejoined the herd. And that raises an almost impossible question. What changed? Did she gradually realize the calf would never rise again? Did some cognitive threshold finally break? Or had her body simply reached the limits of endurance? No experiment can answer that. Perhaps none ever will. And that highlights a deeper problem.
Almost everything we know about animal minds comes from behavior. We watch what animals do, then we infer what they might be experiencing. But behavior is an imperfect window into consciousness. Humans prove that every day. People laugh during funerals, remain emotionally numb during tragedy, break down months later while buying groceries, cry for people they disliked.
If an alien civilization studied humanity purely through observation without access to language, it would misunderstand enormous portions of our emotional lives. So when we watch a whale vigil, a grieving goose, or a mother otter carrying her dead pup, we are observing only the surface. Behind that surface may exist an inner world far richer than we imagine, or far simpler. At present, we genuinely do not know.